Alright, so in these next couple videos, we're going to look at a couple ways to edit your sky sphere. In this first example, we're going to learn how to just swap the material on the default sky sphere with a new one using an HDR image. So to get started, first thing we'll need to do is to grab an HDR image. For this example, I have this space image, this one won't tile. Ideally, you'd want it to tile left and right, and you could even add a gradient from the top down so that when it pinches up at the top of the sphere, you don't see all that pinching. But for this example, this will work fine. So step one, find the image you need, and I'm going to save this image out. It's going to save as a PNG. We'll just call this space 2. I had one from earlier. We'll save it. And the important thing for this method is your image needs to be in an HDR format. So if we look on in our course module under week 3, you'll see an HDR converter, which will link you to this page. And you can simply drag your fresh PNG, drag it in, or navigate to it, convert it to an HDR, press convert, let it do its thing. And when it's done converting, you'll be able to download an HDR image. So for this method, your image needs to be an HDR, but for some other methods, we can use different image formats. So I'm going to go ahead and download this. Let's open it up. Then we're going to go back to Unreal once I have my image. Go to my textures, and I'm going to drag in my new image. So you know you have an HDR if at the top of this little pop-up, when you hover over it, it says space 2, that's the name of the file, and then next to it says texture cube. So if it says texture cube, you're good. If not, you'll need to get it converted to an HDR. So when we bring this in, we're going to double click it to open it up, and we're going to change a couple settings here. So if we go over to the details panel on the right hand side, we're going to start with the MIPGen settings, change that to no MIP maps. Then we're going to change the texture group to, we could just search sky to skybox. And then we're going to change the compression settings to, let's see here, user interface 2D. So once those are done, once those are changed, press save, and then we're going to go ahead and set up our material. So you should go to your material folder, of course, and we're going to, right click, create a new material. I already have one started here that I called HDR Setup Sky Matte. I'll open that up. I have it opened up right here. And we're going to get started. So this is a pretty simple setup. As with all materials, you can add more to them, make them more complex, but this will get you there. So first thing we need to do is click on our main node, and we have to change the shading model in the details on the side here from default lit to unlit. That will hide all these inputs, and then you'll only be able to plug something into the emissive color. So we got a couple nodes here we're going to set up. First, we'll add a texture sample parameter cube. We'll make that. We can rename it to skybox. Then into that, we need to plug in a reflection. Let's see, what was it? Reflection vector node. So reflection vector world space at the bottom here. Plug that in, and then into the last one here, just hold 3 on the keyboard and click to make a blank 3 vector node. Plug that in, and these are the 3 nodes you should need. So I'm just going to delete these because I already have them down here. And then in your texture, go ahead, select the texture node, scroll down to skybox texture, and you can go to your textures folder and you can drag in your cube map. Then plug that into the emissive color. Then we'll go ahead and save this. Drag this off. Now if we click on the sky, we should have the SM Sky Sphere selected. This is the default sky sphere that should be in the scene when you when you start a new project. Then if we go down to the right side and scroll down to here, we'll see the materials. We're in the details panel. We'll see the material section. And if we go to our materials, grab our newly made one and just drag it in there, you'll see we'll update our sky with our new material. So this was a pretty low res image I grabbed, but it shows the way you can just swap it out for something new. So this could be one you paint by hand, or it could be one you source from online. This one has a big seam because the image I got didn't tile. And you'll notice that at the top here, it kind of pinches near the top. But so that's one method of replacing the sky, and in another video, we'll look at another method.